What's going on, everybody? Pogiforce here. You're watching Pogiforce Plays, and welcome back to Dead by Daylight. Before we hop right into the video, I just wanted to let you know that all of the background footage in today's video was recorded live on my Twitch channel over at twitch.tv/Pogiforce. I stream both Dead by Daylight and Sea of Thieves content on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so please come by if you're interested in watching me to play live. With that said, let's get into the video. With the latest Dead by Daylight playtest, we've got a lot of changes. A lot of killer buffs, a few killer nerfs, a nerf to hatches and keys, and most importantly, a new survivor. But the most hotly debated part of the new PTB is what came with that new survivor: Boon totems. It's all over social media, mostly from killer players, complaints that Boon totems are too strong, that they shouldn't be able to do what they do, and why can't Hex totems do the same thing? We're going to unpack all of that, but I'm going to preface the discussion with my opinion, and then I can go into why I feel that way as we dig deeper. Boon totems are fine. That's just it. They're fine. Now, why do I think that? First, let's talk about how Boon totems work and what they do. Boon totems are a new kind of survivor perk that has to be equipped to work. Whenever a survivor finds a dull or hexed totem in the trial, they can bless the totem to convert it into a boon totem. If the totem was hexed, this will also get rid of the associated hex perk. Once a totem is blessed, it will provide the benefits of every boon perk you have equipped to all survivors within 28 meters. They will receive a prompt on screen of what boons they have, as well as a hazy blue visual effect. The boon totem also makes a high-pitched chiming sound that both survivors and the killer can hear. The killer can snuff out the boon totem, turning it back into a dull totem. If the totem was hexed previously, it will not restore the hex. You can only have one blessed totem at a time, so if you bless a new totem, the old blessed totem will go dull. Currently, there are only two boon totems. The first is Boon Circle of Healing. Circle of Healing at rank 3 reads that survivors within range of the totem get a healing speed bonus of 100%, and can heal themselves without a medkit. This is actually misleading, but we'll get into why in a minute. The second boon is Shadow Step. Shadow Step hides the scratch marks of all survivors within the boon's range, and also protects against our reading from the killer. These effects persist for 4 seconds once leaving the area of the boon at rank 3. Obviously, the more popular of the two is Circle of Healing, and for good reason. The bonus healing speed provided to everyone makes healing go much more quickly, and with enough healing buffs from perks and items can even make healing mid-chase much more possible. The effects of boon perks stack when they overlap as well. So if on a small map you can overlap the area where two boons meet, in that area you're looking at a bonus 200% healing speed, which can be pretty insane. This is one big complaint I hear from killers, but it's rooted in a misunderstanding of how the perk actually works. While the perk says it gives a plus 100% healing speed and lets you heal without a medkit, what it actually does is give you plus 100% healing speed and gives you the benefits of self-care, which is a pretty big distinction. The way it's written, you assume normal healing speed without a medkit plus an additional 100% on top of that. Self-care, however, lets you heal without a medkit, but at half speed. This means the base heal is actually much slower, and when you add that 100% on top of that, 2 times 1/2 equals 1. In other words, without a medkit, you're healing at normal speed. It's good, but nothing super amazing. And you're still affected by perks like Sloppy Butcher that can still make that heal take longer. While you can heal significantly faster with a medkit, you're still having to dedicate to a medkit to do that. So it's not like Circle of Healing makes you an unkillable healing god or anything like that. Shadow Step is more niche, but definitely has its uses. The hiding of scratch marks is the most powerful of its two effects, especially when you're looking at crowded or indoor areas. This clip of me playing Trapper at Thompson House is a great example. Can you stop dancing over the hole? Let's set traps. The R reading blocker is not to be underestimated either. Great for blocking popular info perks like barbecue and chili. But Pogi, you might be saying, if boons are so good, why don't you think they're overpowered? Well, there are plenty of reasons. The first is the setup time. The amount of time it takes to set up a totem is the same amount of time it takes to cleanse it. That's roughly 14 seconds. And unlike with cleansing it, there are absolutely no tools to help you set up a boon faster. However, thanks to changes to Thrill of the Hunt, the killer can slow down your blessing, which means it can take up to 28 seconds to bless one totem. That's a third of a generator that could have been done. And it's different from cleansing in another way, and that cleansing a totem will reduce the penalty of Thrill of the Hunt by 10% permanently. A blessing can be undone, and quite quickly too. While it takes 14 to 28 seconds to put up a boon totem, depending on perks, it only takes the killer a little over 1 second to take it down. Plus, since it's still a totem action, if you get interrupted for any reason, you're going to have to start over. Silly Pogi, some killers have said to me on Twitter. You just have one survivor set up the totem, and the other 3 work on generators. There are many reasons why that doesn't work. First of all, unless you're on a well-coordinated Swift, you're not going to be able to assign roles like that. Who's going to be the one to set up the boons? Even in a Swift, depending on where people spawn, the person who was going to set up the boon may be in an unfavorable position at the start of the trial. Too close to the killer, unable to find a totem, whatever. On top of that, boon totems only cover 28 meters. That's a decent range, but it's not like hexes which cover the entire map. You need a web of boon totems to maximize your safe areas. Having just one boon makes it easy for the killer to snuff it out and deny any advantage. So really, if you're going to run boons, it's best if everyone sets one up. That's a minimum of 4 perks from the survivors, and 14 to 28 seconds dedicated from each survivor. So anywhere from 52 to 104 seconds from the survivors collectively spent putting up totems. More as the match progresses if a totem is taken down and they put it back up. Which means every 1.25 seconds spent by a killer taking out a totem is some 14 seconds of slowdown they've earned, because that survivor is no doubt going to want to put it back up. Which brings me to my third reason why totems aren't overpowered, unless they very easily encourage new types of bad habits. Survivors refusing to leave the area of a boon totem, or lingering in the area far longer than they should. Survivors running back to a boon totem area to heal, effectively being the new self-care in a corner. Survivors dropping everything they're doing to put up a totem once it's been taken down, even if it means the killer will likely catch them. The strength of the boon totem ends up becoming a trap where players who lack the discipline will lean heavily on their boons, to the point that they become easier to predict, easier to catch, and will spend more time hiding and doing boons instead of doing generators. So in that way, it ends up being a good thing for the killer that boons can be replaced, because that means the survivors will waste more time doing so. Pogi, don't be stupid, other killers may have said. Boons are really strong, and you can overlap them to get stupidly OP effects. If they're going to be that strong, they shouldn't be replaceable. Well, again, there are several things wrong with that statement. Firstly, for those very strong effects, you need at least 2 survivors running the same boon perk. That's 2 perk slots taken on that team. They also may have to run totem finding perks to help them locate totems as well to set that up, so that's more perks taken. And then they need to have the teamwork and the coordination to set up their boons so their area of effects overlap. That's if you can even accomplish that, as totems are usually reasonably spread out, where if you can even get any overlap at all, it's the tiniest sliver of ground where one wrong step to one side and you're out of one of the boons. If you're going to complain about a super healing zone that's less than 1% of the map's overall area, and also would be easy to predict after a while as killer, you may want to reconsider what you call overpowered. Yes, the overlap is easier on smaller maps, but smaller maps are known to be more killer-sided because the killer doesn't have to go as far to patrol and can find survivors more easily. That also means that survivors are more likely to be interrupted setting up a boon, and it takes the killer less time to find a boon and snuff it. Larger maps are known to be more survivor-sided, and the killer may have trouble finding and eliminating boons, but that also means the totems are more spread out, cover less of the map, and will likely not have any overlap at all. So in a sense, The Boon Totems are the great equalizer, where small, killer-sided maps make it easier to set up OP zones, but also easier to take down. Larger, traditionally survivor-sided maps means the boons will be safer, but those OP zones are far less likely to happen. And again, there's taking into account the perk and time investment of the survivors just to set it up, and the time it would no doubt take to maintain it, putting totems back up after they're snuffed. So when you're talking about something that takes a lot of time to put up, comes down in less than an eighth of the time invested, covers a limited area, announces their position to the killer, and requires teamwork and discipline to be used effectively, boons are fine. If anything, in my opinion, they could use a slight buff, as I think it's too easy to take them down compared to the time to put them up. Rather than slowing down the snuffing animation, however, I think blessing speed should be affected positively by counterforce, the same way Thrill of the Hunt affects it negatively. Basically, make the cleansing speed bonus of counterforce also apply to blessings. Do that, and to me that puts boons in a good spot. But that's just my opinion. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about Boon Totems, whether you agree or disagree with my opinion, and why you think so. I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, everyone, I am Pogiforce, and you guys, stay awesome. I'll catch you later.